You name my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster. Like,
is that in the book?
No, people call... Yes, it is.
Oh my god.
It's not... Vanessas are nicknamed Nessie. Just because you named your kid something dumb, don't invalidate a valid nickname.
That's
Ness and Nessie is
nickname.
such a better name.
Dumb. It's such a cute
Renesmee.
little nickname. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Like, aw, Nessie.
I'm trying to fix your mess.
Yeah.
Hi, Rogue.
Hey, Zax.
Hi, Carina.
Hi, Zax. Hi, Rogue.
Hey, Karina.
Guys, we did it.
Yay, now we can say we did it. Except we
One
still have to
more.
talk about it.
This is the last one for the road, and it's, I guess for you guys, you've gotten to space it out over the course of a month. But this is like a week
Yeah.
of just consuming Twilight.
We had to marathon
And-
these.
Yep.
Oh gosh, and Twilight.
It was really Twilight
It's-
week for us.
Yay. So fun.
So, alright, let's just start. We're gonna basically tell you what happened, and we're gonna go in order, but it's so much filler that we just made a list, and we checked it twice, and nobody was nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all bad.
So it's time for the wedding of the century.
Yay.
Which, I don't know, thinking about the amount of time that passed since they first met, because we get a fun little scene about that at the end. I'm like, wait a second, this all happened within, it had to have been like 2 years.
Like, 2 years at most.
I mean,
And
well,
so
then
I feel like because of the amount of reading there is in the books and then the amount of space between the movies, it's like, oh, they're finally getting married. But for me, who watched all of the movies in like 4 days,
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, they're already getting married.
I'm like,
I don't
no, you
care.
need to slow down.
I think we were talking about this while, like, we were all writing and ranting our notes to each other. Anna Kendrick was the only person to be like, oh, is she gonna be showing
Yeah,
up this
like-
one?
So is Bella gonna be pregnant? Because, like, why are they getting married so soon?
And of course, Bella had that line, like, the only people who get married at my age are the ones that get knocked up. But, like, okay.
And then what do you know?
We've talked about this a lot, but does Belle even get a bachelorette party, or just
No!
No.
Just Edward gets a bachelor party. I thought about that too. I was like, oh, I guess she doesn't get a bachelorette party.
She just
That's
goes
cool.
to sleep at 9 o'clock at her dad's house.
But here's something else I'd like to bring out. So for the bachelor party, they're just gonna go hunt like they always
Yeah,
do.
that's no
But
fun.
Here's the thing, though. That's why the Cullen should just have a farm of animals that they have, and then on special occasions they could go out and hunt.
Mhm.
Normal people don't go out to dinner every night.
That's true.
You can eat some stuff in the fridge.
Yeah.
So there's that. Anyway, the wedding's very boring.
It's
They
very
just say
pretty,
"I
though.
love you" like 4 times.
Like, here's
It's
what
very
I'll say
short.
about the wedding scene. It's, like, visually, it's beautiful.
Yes.
I'm like, I really like this aesthetic. I like how it's in the forest, and it's all, like, the, like, greens and whites and browns. I'm like, okay, this is... Okay,
It might as well be in the forest. That's where
yeah.
they spend most of their time.
Yeah, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
set department. You kind of snapped here. This kind of slaps. But, like, other than that, it's just real boring. They say their lines and they're like, I
It was
love
like-
you.
It was like a real short wedding. Bella meets him at the whatever. It's not an altar.
In front of their house. In their driveway.
Under the archway. And immediately the can't think of any the wedding
priest?
aficionado.
Aficionado? Whoever
No.
they hired to marry them.
yeah.
The wedding officer was just like, repeat after me. I, Edward Cullen. I'm like, oh, we're already at that part?
Or,
Okay.
like, we're not gonna, like, say our vows or, like,
I mean, they
have a
didn't
little,
write
like-
vows. They had the pre-written ones.
like,
But,
they,
like,
that's
I
so
don't know.
boring.
Even if he had just said, like, we're gathered here today to celebrate this union, fast, like, fade in, fade out, then we go to the vows.
Like, I'm
But it
not
was
saying
just,
we
like-
had to get a full wedding. I'm just saying that they didn't even pretend like there was anything more. It was kind of like...
what are they gonna say to each other? Like, oh, like, I've known you, like, for a year, and I love you. Like, everybody's gonna be sitting there in the audience, like... Oh no, guys, I think they're moving a little fast. And everyone starts, like, scratching their necks and, like, collar tug. Oh boy. Uh-oh.
It was a really long kiss.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Uncomfortably long.
At one point, they turn around, so it's like they feel like they're the only ones there.
Right.
But then, like, they turn around again, and we see all these people watching, and I'm like,
That's
wait,
not how
but
you
how
kiss
long
at your
was the
wedding.
kiss?
Yeah.
How long was the kiss really? Was like in our head we're making out for a long time, but it was just a quick smooch.
Like, the thought, I
don't-
don't know if anybody else feels the same way as me, but the thought of, like, kissing my partner in front of my parents and my whole family when I get married makes me uncomfy. But they're just
mean-
like, I love
I've
you.
definitely been to wedding ceremony. I mean, I feel like I've been to enough weddings where that is one of the things I will judge you for.
How long you
How
kissed your
long?
partner for.
Because there's somewhere it's like a cute little like, oh, I remember there's this one where like the whole time they were crying, they were so in love with each other, and then it came to like the smooch, and it was like not the shortest smooch, but it was like a nice chaste, powerful smooch where it's like, I love you so much, wah, kind of deal.
Do you know it'd be
Like-
fun at a wedding? Instead of kissing your partner, you like do a secret handshake with them.
Aw, that'd be cute.
You may now shake hands. It's like the Parent Trap.
Oh my gosh, if you coordinate the
That'd be
Parent
so
Trap
fun.
deal.
The last wedding that I went to, like the first dance, they were like, we're not gonna slow dance in front of everybody. We're not gonna like get my dad out and like slow dance with him. We're gonna choreograph a number. We're gonna get up there on the dance floor and we're gonna show everybody what we're made of. And I'm like, yes, amazing, good job.
So
That was a fun wedding.
So at the wedding, we get to meet a few vampire family. And we find out that one of them, Carina, I don't know why they dragged her along to this wedding if she's still
Yeah,
so salty.
She obviously didn't want to
But-
be there.
But she was apparently with Laurent, remember the
Remember
bad
him?
black vampire
Yeah.
that was murdered. And they say, Edward says, well, you know, the vampire, like, he was going to eat Bella. And then she's like, you don't know that. He wanted to be like us.
No,
He was
Okay,
gonna
Bella's right.
change, yeah.
Bella's right here. The assault victim's right here. She knows. It's not like the werewolves were like, no, don't be mad at us, guys. He was going to eat Bella. And they were like, oh, okay, that's cool. Bella was like, he was going to eat me, and the werewolf saved my life.
No, Bella's such a wet paper towel that she can't do anything for herself.
No.
She starts getting a little bit of agency in Breaking Dawn.
Yeah, but now that's
okay,
because she's an OP
well,
vampire OC.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it's
Doesn't
yeah.
count.
No, not
There's no
at
actual
all.
character development there. She's
She's-
just, I have super cool vampire powers now, so now I'm like kind of a baddie.
That's
When we
true.
get there, gosh,
Mhm.
she is so OP. it's
My
absurd.
gosh.
Okay. So then Jacob also shows up at the wedding. And, like, we were talking, when I was watching this with my roomie and everybody, we had a moment where we were just like, wow, this is a powerful PSA.
Also, I just
Imagine-
want to say, he didn't iron his shirt before he showed up.
He's been living in the woods as a beast.
Yeah, he had time to go home and get dressed, though.
He said it felt weird being in clothes.
Well,
He's not going to hold an eye.
He could have said, hey, Dad, can you please iron my shirt for me? I gotta go run around in the woods one more time before I go to this wedding. And Billy would have been like, yeah, son, I love you. And he would have ironed his shirt for him. Because
I
Billy
love you,
Black
Bella, but
is
not
such a
that
good
much
dad
to look
to look decent at your own
nice.
wedding.
So then, okay, so this is a powerful PSA. So Jacob and Bella are dancing. They're having a nice moment, kind of saying their goodbyes, coming to peace with everything. But then she drops the bomb that her and Edward are going to canoodle before
They're
he
gonna
turns her.
consummate their marriage.
They're gonna have a normal honeymoon,
Mhm.
is what she said.
It's gonna be as real as anyone else's.
But here's the thing. Picture that. Like, so on your wedding night, it's kind of assumed there's going to be a canoodling at the end. Everybody's on board, regardless of whether or not any canoodling happened beforehand. We all know that tonight, there's going to be a canoodle, most likely. You know, depending on your relationship orientation or whatever, of course. However, if that's just known, and you make like kind of a joke about it, and now 5 dudes pop out of the woods, and they're all against it.
No, don't.
Also, I want to know, because immediately he was like, you can't do it while she's a human. You'll kill her. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? Do we just know vampire sexual education?
Well, does that imply that, like, Jacob and Edward, like, you know, and Jacob's like grabs her by the shoulders. He's like, Bella, you can't. You don't know what this man can do. I couldn't walk for 4 days.
Oh my god.
You can cut that if it's too much.
I was just thinking, if human Bella can't even punch Jacob in the face after a kiss,
what makes her think? I want to say something, but it's not appropriate for kind of friends.
Oh no.
but like Bella, listen, like you little shrimp. What makes you think that you're gonna be able to handle all this vampire who's like super strong and all that while you're a little shrimpy human?
Well, apparently she can handle it very well, because we see them on their wedding night. She expresses no feeling or emotion whatsoever.
She's like,
he broke the bed in like half.
Also,
and she just like winces slightly. It's like, no, you're cool. Keep going, bruh.
So I want to say, this is probably going to say quite a bit about my movie watching habits, but that scene is so boring.
It is.
Everyone's like, oh my god, like in Breaking Dawn Part 1, oh my god, they're gonna like do it. But then like it's so boring and uneventful. You don't see anything fun. Like I get it that it's like, oh, it's PG-13, like we can't show a butt. That'd be inappropriate. We see absolutely nothing. There's just bed sheets everywhere. Boring. Absolutely boring.
I will say, I've seen some uncomfortably spicy PG-13 makeout scenes. So, like, you could have showed up, Twilight.
Okay, you could have done a little more.
We have established, maybe, did we talk about it in a video, that Stephenie Meyer is Mormon, so...
Yeah. And she also puts a lot of emphasis on, like, oh, they're both virgins. Like, they've never done this before. They've been saving themselves for marriage. I'm like, listen... Well, you don't need to do
Edward
that,
specifically, because Bella tried with Edward. Yeah,
Bella did not care about her purity.
But then Edward's like, no, Bella, like, I'm
traditional.
Yeah, I'm old school.
Oh, you know, we forgot to mention how Dexter, how Edward went around vigilante murdering.
Stay tuned for Dexter month, everyone.
Oh, yeah. The night before their wedding.
Yeah.
Why?
One thing though, they mentioned that, I mean, maybe, I don't think they mentioned it in the movie, but as of Twilight, and I will be honest, by Breaking Dawn the book, I kind of tapped out a little bit as far as, like, holding on to the details of all this. So I don't know if she just retconned, I don't know if she retconned it in that book or what, but in Twilight... he mentions that he didn't like Carlisle's way, and he went off killing people. He doesn't really talk about the whole, like, monster deal or whatever. Because he doesn't even really say that. He just says he went his own way. And, like, it's implied that he went off killing people.
Yeah.
And we just sort of leave it there. So maybe in Breaking Dawn he did clarify.
Well, yeah, he does,
but it was okay.
He does say that, because he's like, oh, all the men that I killed were monsters, but like, oh, I still killed them. But then Bella, like, says something dumb, and she's like, oh, but you're different. You'd never do that to me. I'm like, Bella, shut up.
She says, Edward, they were murderers. You probably save more people by killing them. I'm like, yikes.
Like, Bella. I feel like Bella is pro death penalty.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean,
I feel like Bella has some really backwards politics.
She's literally pro Edward. He could bring home Charlie in a bag, and she'd be like, "Oh,
dinner
but
is
you're
served.
not like other boys. It's okay.
It's fine. I bet he deserved it." ACAB, am I right?
Right. You're on there now.
Oh my god.
We already established that Charlie is the one good
The one
cop.
good, yeah.
But Bella doesn't agree with us because Bella doesn't agree with us about anything.
Yeah, as long Edward says this, so therefore I have to agree with Edward no matter what.
So, yeah. Next major deal. During the honeymoon, Bella realizes that she's late. Also, she made some super raw chicken, so I would also not jump to the conclusion that it was morning sickness because she did not cook that chicken.
And then undercooked chicken that she's just chowing down on with peanut butter and yogurt on the side as a nice little side dish. Gross.
And I mean, I get that was supposed to be like, ooh, she's got prego cravings, but like, also, you didn't cook the chicken.
It's like she opens up the chicken and is like poking like what I can only assume is the bone marrow. I'm like, Bella, like this chicken is still pink. Bella, what are you doing?
It was red. It was bleeding still. What's wrong with you? You weirdo. You know what? Charlie only takes her to the diner.
I see why now, because Bella will give herself salmonella.
So then, but it turns out, she's pregnant. And now Stephanie Meyer, who has tactfully, in Eclipse, handled, traumatic sexual encounters for Rosalie, tactfully addressed racism among Native Americans.
Who's just been super respectful when it comes to any, like, difficult to
sensitive
discuss topic. Yeah. She's just been so sensitive and well-researched.
Now we're gonna talk about the demonetizable word about when you don't want a baby.
Yeah.
When you don't want a forever baby.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not feeling it.
So, they all refer to this baby pretty much off the bat as an abomination, a demon baby. And I feel like this is the kind of thing where, like, I get that, like, vampirism has, like, loosely been a metaphor for, like, lust and stuff through the ages and whatnot. But, like, for a specific topic like this, it doesn't really work because, like, literally the baby's a monster.
Yeah.
It's literally
This is a whole monster.
And I get that in situations it's like, well, it's okay if the mother is sick or going to die. And, like, that's the discourse. But according to Stephanie Meyer and Rosalie, Bella can fry because we need
Bella,
the
though.
bloodline to go on. Yeah, but, like, Bella, I don't care about the decisions Bella makes. She's not thinking clearly.
Here's the
Look,
thing.
we've established Bella's an idiot.
Everyone is like, it's gonna kill her, so we need it. They call it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It needs to come out. And she's like, no, it's my choice. Which, like, that's not what that means. That's not
Like,
what
Bella.
pro-choice means.
Bella, listen. This thing is actually killing you. Like, it's
Literally
not like
eating you.
Literally killing you. You are withering away before our eyes. I think it'd be okay if you didn't go through with this pregnancy. If you value your life, I'm just saying.
Here's a question, though. If Edward turned her before they got it out, would she just be pregnant forever?
I don't know. I was very confused about why they couldn't do that.
What I don't understand is that, like, vampires have been around since the beginning of time, right? How is there
never happened.
How is there
One
no record of, like, oh no, a vampire and a human made a baby? Oh no, like, nobody...
Except
like,
we find out later that there is, apparently.
Yeah, but, like, were the Volturi just like, we're just not gonna keep records of this?
Yeah.
Well, I think the issue is just that, like, nobody knows because I think it's a deal. Like, humans are just so gross, it's like, who could ever love a beast?
They're literally on Bing. They're on Bing looking up vampire baby.
That was so weird because I was literally like, okay, you know it would be cool, like, since we don't care about, like, facts or, like, talking to our other vampire brother that we're going to meet in other circumstances, none of which you know.
Yeah, because they're not important right now.
We're going to go on Bing. Like, literally, if the Collins just sat down and had a Blade marathon, they were like, actually, no, we can keep this child because, you see, they're not going to be vulnerable to sunlight, and Wesley Snipes is really cool. So, like, let's just do this.
They could have just watched Blade 2 and been like, wow, I love Blade 2. My name's Jalen. I love Blade 2.
So, okay. This abomination baby is, because it exists, Sam and the werewolves are like, we're eating bat tonight.
Yum, we eating good tonight, boys. Baby.
The treaty is off. And then, Jacob, he finally is like, this is, okay, I will say, I actually genuinely just think this is a cool scene. In the book and in the movie, I just like this part where Jacob is like, I am the grandson of a chief. I'm gonna save Bella and I'm an alpha now. Grr. And then
You little beta weenies.
Yeah, and then
follow
Sam
anyone.
powers down. Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm getting some feelings now, Taylor Lautner. Thank you.
Thank you,
This was
Taylor
good.
Lautner, for
Also,
saving
I
this
like
movie.
how they distorted the werewolf voices in general.
Her choice affects us all. Bella's human. Our protection applies to her. She's dying anyway! We have real enemies to fight tonight.
I was
Even
gonna
though they're
say,
thinking.
I don't know how I felt about that.
That's fair. I just one thing I will say, I think we talked about this, neither of you guys have watched the new Lion King movie.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen the new Lion King movie.
Oh, you have?
I have.
Okay. But here's where, this is so sad, but like, I feel like the quote unquote old bad CGI of Twilight is better because all these werewolves are really emoting a lot, which does not happen that much in the Lion King movie, like at all.
Because animals
Like-
don't emote.
Listen, I have 2 cats that have big personalities. I can absolutely guarantee that I have seen them look guilty. I have seen them look angry. I have seen them look mischievous.
I don't know. I didn't get that from Lion King. I feel like a lot of animal emotions comes from knowing their personalities and kind of like projecting a little bit that they're emoting. So, I don't know.
So we can just differ on that, but moving on. Okay, so now he's on his own. And he and Edward are like, Sam's coming. We're going to protect Bella by all means. Also, Boo Boo Stewart has joined the pack.
Yay, we love Boo Boo Stewart.
I love that
sweet.
scene with Seth and Jacob, and he's like,
He's such
I'll
a
follow
wholesome
you. I want to
boy.
follow you. I don't want to follow Sam anymore. Oh, it's so cute. I
He's
just want to
such, like, a
spin off
nice
that's just the
little
two of
boy.
them.
How old is
First
Boo Boo
off-
Stewart now? I feel like he's like 22. But how old
I
is he
think
when this is
so.
filmed? How old is he's 26. Okay, he's older than me.
For stuff that we're going to talk about later, I would like to say that this scene with Jacob and Seth, that is a big brother little sibling relationship.
Yeah.
That's how old and young siblings interact with each other.
Yep.
We'll call back to that. We'll circle back. So they're going to protect her. Then, Bella, we have this awkward, painful birth deal. And
Oh wait,
Where
before
was
that
Carlisle?
happens though. Before that happens,
Oh,
the names.
yes.
The naming
yeah,
situation.
okay. Oh yeah, 2 more things, I guess. Okay, so one, Bella, why did you get a choice? Because okay, let's ignore the combination of mothers' names, which they're gonna go with. But if it was a boy,
Oh
they were
my
gonna
gosh.
name it Edward Jacob.
Or EJ for short.
I'm going to name my child after the 2 quote-unquote romantic interests of my life, one of which is just hanging around being sad and dejected.
Yeah, one that's just the guy I
That's-
friend zoned.
Yeah, can you imagine? And the one that says, like, keeps on trying to keep me from the man that I love, and keeps on saying things like, he's gonna kill you, and you don't know what you want, and is clearly not good for a healthy 2-person relationship.
I'm gonna name my baby
But-
after you.
Yep.
But he is easy to gaslight.
Ladies,
and that's a feeling.
ladies,
That's
think
a
of the
plus.
most like toxic man you've ever like had in your life, okay? Take a second, go back into the archives, try not to get too traumatized. Okay, do you have that name now? That's you pick that name for your firstborn.
Yeah, and except combine it with your partner's name now.
Like that Bella.
That's a fun game.
Bella.
Here's something weird. I don't know if you guys ever saw the Seth Rogen, Barbara Streisand movie Guilt Trip.
No.
Okay, this isn't like a huge part of the movie, so spoiler warning anyway. Seth Rogen, his dad is dead and has been dead for a minute. He goes to Barbara Streisand and he says, and like she's going through a crisis or something. I don't know what her deal is, but she just tells him, "You're named Andy because that's the man I was in love with before I met your father, but we ended up breaking up." Then at the end of the movie, they find this guy's family, but the guy she was in love with is dead, but his daughter is named after her.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
So, what?
That sounds like a nightmare. Also, I feel like that's just like a part 2 of A Star is Born.
Aw.
Oh, that's sad.
Maybe.
Tell me something. When I wear the hat, I'm the boy.
So, okay. Then there's this other scene, which I like that this movie that we were like, we like Rosalie now because she wants to help Bella die giving childbirth.
Yeah,
So she's
because
great
she
now.
likes it, the
Here's-
baby.
But here's something they took away from the book. So at some point, Jacob has a funny thought, and he's like, "Oh, well, maybe the baby's looking for someone to eat. A little blood-sucking demon baby, yum."
Yum, yum, yum.
And then everyone, like, just sort of jokes, and then Edward's like, "Wait, I think you're onto something." And then Carla's like, "Oh, I have O negative." But Rosalie's the one who brought that up earlier. We didn't even get to this point. Bella's like really sick and they're like, "We really need to get her to eat." And Rosalie's like, "Look, you guys are so busy demonizing this unborn child. Maybe you're ignoring the obvious. It is half vampire. Let's give it some blood." And then that's what happens. But for some reason, and this is what's weird because the movie opens in the credits and puts in big letters, produced by Stephanie Meyer, who wrote this book. Why was that? Why did she take away anything that could make anybody more of a person?
Because obviously Stephanie Meyer didn't write Rosalie to be a sympathetic character. She didn't write her to be like, "Oh, does everyone feel bad for her?" And like have her have legitimate character development. She's just like, "Look, she's the blonde girl and I'm a brunette."
She's the
And I hate
pretty
her.
blonde girl.
Yeah, she's the pretty blonde girl who knows she's pretty, knows her self-worth, and we don't like that here in Stephanie Meyer land. We hate blonde girls like that.
Always.
I have to
notice
say
none
that-
of the kind of friends are blonde yet.
That's true.
Kind of yellow, but he doesn't count.
The OG kind of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the server rules, people.
Yeah.
Sheeple.
You loser.
I really want Sheeple to become genuine.
Rule number 1, always be polite and respectful even if you disagree. Oh, well, we don't agree with Stephanie Meyer. Have we been polite and respectful to her? No.
Yes.
Well, I sure haven't.
I think we have because if someone is racist openly,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. That
Stephanie
seems like
Meyer,
it's setting
you're
a
a
dangerous precedent. Don't listen to me. But
Okay,
I think we've been very polite.
I do want to talk about the scene where they feed her blood because
Oh.
I feel like this was written by a fanfic author who doesn't know how anything works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because she
that's what,
starts drinking it and she's like, "It tastes good. Fine. That's a weird
yum,
craving.
yum.
Whatever." And then immediately she's like, "I'm feeling better." And I'm like, I don't know if your body processed it that fast to get it to your child.
When you take
Yeah.
Advil, it takes like at least like 5-10 minutes for your headache to go away.
I'd say like 30.
Yeah, like it needs to go into your system. It needs to go into your bloodstream and work.
Yeah, I guess on on one hand, I will say though, there are times when I've had a headache and just taking the pills gives me like a little bit of a placebo, where I feel like better, but then like for a few seconds, then it's like, oh no, I feel kind of groggy again. But then like after it actually starts working, then I feel fine again.
Sometimes if I feel bad, I just take a shot of apple cider vinegar and then I tell myself I feel better.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like, I feel fine, and my body's like, no, we hate this.
Okay, so now for like the grossest childbirth in the world.
Wait, so
Oh, I mean, yeah.
why does it explain why he has these blood bags and why they can't just use that normally?
She's O negative blood. He was just keeping them in case like she needed a transfusion.
So it's her
He's
own
a doctor.
blood type, I guess.
At least, and I don't really remember that from the book, but in the movie he said like I have some O negative set aside for Bella. So he was, yeah.
There was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
What's so funny too, though, but like, okay, here's something else. I love Emmett, even though like I prefer him with the shorter hair because he kind of just blends in with everybody else now.
Yeah.
He's a
but
big boy.
I still love his big dumb jock energy because he's like, "What's she good to eat?"
Yeah.
Well, like, oh, Emmett.
Is there a
I'm
reason
sorry.
that the Cullens can't go out and feed?
Because Sam's gonna kill him.
Why?
Well, he's gonna kill Bella. He's waiting till they leave so he can kill the abomination baby.
So go in shifts. Be like, okay, you three, you go like get some food. We'll hang out here. Like,
something similar happened in Eclipse that we didn't get to talk about, where she was it an eclipse? They had to protect her and do something else, and they were all talking, and they were like, well, we can't protect her and also do this other thing. And I was like, there's like a million Cullens. Why can't you do both?
Or just
It's
go
not going
home.
to take all of you.
Bella, just go home.
I guess their thing is like, so they all have, first of all, but again, they're all holed in, and I'm like, again, call back to what I said earlier, get a fridge of farm animals.
Problem
You
solved.
know, in interviewing a vampire, Louis could live off of rats. In the first movie of your own movie, Stephanie, 3 vampires were going to share one dude. So I'm pretty sure if you just had like a big old bull on standby, you could be fine.
I'm trying to think who said it, but it's one of our D&D friends. Rats are the Caprice son of vampires. Which, if you play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, that's literally what they are. How many take a shot or do a self-care activity every time I bring up that franchise this month? It's gotta be at least 5
You can't say
by
that in
now.
the last video we're making.
Go back and rewatch, please. Okay. So now let's talk about the grossest childbirth ever. This baby is literally breaking Bella to shreds. And the baby gets delivered. But then Rosalie, sorry, we thought we liked you, but you can't handle the blood.
You gotta just gobble up Bella, because she just looks so delicious and irresistible.
And then, you know, the baby's
Looking like
born,
a 10-piece chicken nugget meal right now.
and she starts, like, dying, but they do, like... But then Edward is like, oh, good, the baby's out. Let's take some time. Look at how beautiful my baby is. Bella, don't
Look
you
at
love
my
me?
strawberry
Wake up, hun.
jam covered baby who's like 3 months old.
Oh, my God. It's just... But, like, it was a CGI baby.
No, it was a real baby at first.
It was a real...
It was a real
That was
baby.
a real baby.
It was a real baby up until that
We see
close-up
their
shot
face.
where
Yeah.
Jacob's imprinting. We'll get to that in a minute.
But see, that's the thing, though. I don't see why they didn't just use a real baby for the whole
Here's-
thing.
Yeah.
Because, like,
No, I mean, I
like,
want to get to this, but let's get through this scene and then we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
Okay,
baby's
so-
so unsettling.
So, Edward wastes all his time. Jacob and Edward do super slow compressions that aren't saving anybody.
They're like
And
halftime. Halftime compressions.
Like,
I mean, also, y'all both have super speed.
yeah.
What
So
the heck?
when you do chest compressions, we all remember that scene from The Office with the staying alive. It's been updated because that's like the beats a little too slow. It's like this.
It's 120
You should-
beats per minute.
You should be going like this when you're doing chest compressions because that's gonna get the heart going. They're going like
Like 60 beats per minute.
doing absolutely nothing. No wonder she's dying. You're doing nothing to her.
Which I feel like... I feel like CPR, which is also chest compressions, even if you don't do the mouth-to-mouth part, because that's the most important part, is so common now that so many people know it. How did they get away with that in the movie?
So he did the 2 breaths. He covered her nose. I'm like, okay. He didn't readjust her head, but I'm like, that's fine. All right, whatever.
The chest compressions are the most important part.
And he did them terribly. And I don't think... I wasn't counting. I'm not going to go back and watch to see if he did 30. But you do 30 compressions, and then you go back to 2 breaths.
He did, like, maybe 12.
He's like, I don't care.
I think maybe between him and Jacob, they did 30.
This is only my wife that I love. I don't care all that much if she lives.
Then, okay. So then he puts the thing, and then he starts biting her all over, and then somehow that works or whatever.
Oh, but he also gives her his venom that everyone just has on hand.
Well, I get he prepared that because the bite wouldn't transfer the venom fast enough. But you know what, Edward? Maybe, just maybe, if instead of gushing over your baby, which I know you're a new father, that's exciting, life, your woman you love, dying.
She's being dead.
Let's focus
Let's
here.
prioritize.
Get your head in the game, my friend. Okay. Now, Jacob is like, you deserve to live with this.
Yeah, be sad.
He killed Bella. And he goes outside and he mopes. And
cries.
He
bawls his eyes out.
And I feel genuinely bad for Taylor Lautner there, because he did look very sad. I'm like, okay, this acting here is really good.
But how about this? If I told you Jacob did a little bit more before he goes back inside and meets someone for the first time.
What?
In the book,
no.
he leaves. And this actually is written from first person, from Jacob's perspective.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
He gets on a motorcycle and he drives into town and he's all reckless and nervous. Or maybe he werewolfed his way there. I don't know. But somehow he gets to a parking lot and he sees this girl. She's riding a motorcycle. He's like, she's beautiful. She's great.
Oh, no.
He walks up to her and he's like, hi. And she's like, hey. And like, they flirt a little bit, but then he gets angry because he's like, why can't I just love you? Ugh, I'm never going to be happy. And he storms off and she's... We don't know what she's like after that encounter because we're just following Jacob.
She definitely called her best friend and was like, you're not going to believe who just came up to me. Some random crackhead who just yelled at me in the parking lot for no reason.
Then he goes back and he's like, oh, I'm never going to be happy. I'm going to have to kill that dumb baby.
Sorry.
Oh,
Your exacts go, I'm going to have to kill that dumb baby.
But then he walks in and they lock eyes and he sees this awful, ugly CGI montage.
With a girl with a terrible wig on, and it's like, oh my god, it's older Renesmee. I'm like, no.
And also, he gets a voiceover in that part for no reason, I guess.
Well, it was from the book, so...
When a wolf imprints on someone, then they have to be there for them all the time.
They be whatever they need them to be. Their brother, their protector. I was like, this is awkward. I don't like
anything
that.
else. I'm like, ooh.
The only other time we've heard imprinting was in a romantic setting.
Yeah.
So
and this is a baby.
And if you remember earlier in the movie, at some point when Jacob's moping along the reservation beach with his friends, you look over and you see Sam and Emily, you see some other wolves and their significant others you assume that they imprinted on given the context of the conversation. Then you scan over to the beach and there's a grown boy with a little baby girl stamping on the shore. And in New Moon, we discussed those two. Because Bella was like, ew, that's kind of weird. He's like, no. He's just going to be his big brother until the end. But then Bella acknowledges while they're all sitting around the campfire that she looks at the way he looks at her and she's like, wow, I can't, like, says something to the effect of, with, like, receiving so much devotion and, like, being showered with all this attention, how could you not get swept off your feet? So it is child grooming here, people. What?
Like,
Stephanie!
Stephanie Meyer, who was your editor? Who was your beta reader? Because they need to lose their job or be on an FBI watch list, because my god, what's being implied here is bad stuff.
So, yeah, but of course, we'll talk
get
more
into
about that in a
that
bit.
soon.
Because now, Bella's eyes are opened up, and they're red. And that's the end of part 1. Which, like...
And we're going to talk about part 2 right now.
Hi, welcome back.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Did you go get some water? Did you go pee? Get comfy, because we got more to say.
Clear off your bingo boards and start again.
Did you win?
Okay. Bella's a vampire now.
Yay,
and she's
finally.
just totally cool about it. One thing, like, Edward takes her to hunt before she even meets any of the guys, but in the book, she meets all the guys and she's cool, and it's, like, been a minute, and they're all like, whoa, aren't you, like, hungry or something? And she's like, oh, yeah.
I guess so.
Oh yeah,
guess I am.
well that kind of happens. They're like looking in the mirror. She wears dresses now because she's a vampire, and
It was so weird to me. Like, what?
and they're admiring her new beauty because she's a vampire.
She's
And
wearing
then-
more makeup now than she was
Yeah,
on her
exactly.
wedding day.
And then Edward goes something about we're gonna need to take care of that thirst. And then she starts like touching her throat and like,
Oh my god, I am thirsty.
and I'm like, if you hadn't said nothing, she would have been fine.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just me, but like them referring to like needing blood as thirsty, I don't know why, but I don't like that. Cuz like
Because
that's
you're
like
thinking
it's your
of-
food, right? Or like your
Yeah.
nutrients. And when you think
It's
about
like living off of Slim Fast.
Yeah. like you don't like you're not like, "Oh, my stomach is empty. Let me go drink some water."
But I think that's a common like vampire thing, because I guess in theory you feel like thirsty, like your throat is dry and you need something to drink.
But
I guess.
also your
Yeah, I
stomach
guess
is
that's-
empty.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
They-
she goes hunting. Oh, yeah.
They say we need to feed. They use both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Although, the Collins like to say hunt more, because for some reason they like tiptoeing around what they are.
They're like,
Yeah.
we're vegetarians.
Monsters.
Also, let's go kill a mountain lion and eat that.
We're
for dinner.
vegetarians, but we will witness countless murders.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We will
Like,
do
I
nothing
wasn't
about them.
Yeah.
They're basically going in like hunting protected species, basically.
Honestly, they're going to national parks and just eating the wildlife.
Like,
Also, is nobody
okay.
in Forks concerned about like all the dead animal carcasses that are just everywhere?
That are drained of
like,
blood.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like, who are the mountain lion's natural predators?
They're at the top.
vampires.
Yeah.
They're like, we've been seeing a lot of them. Like, we thought it was poachers at first, but like these like, there's no blood in them. It's so weird. Maybe we should look into this. But I guess the Forks police don't care.
They rip them apart and burn the pieces.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like, what do they do? What do they do?
So, okay. So here's something. She goes to hunt. She almost eats a human. Then she's no, I gotta get out of here. And then she goes and she eats a lion because she was gonna eat the deer, but then the mountain lion wanted her deer. And then Edward's like, man, you resisted humans on the first try. You're a real pro.
Yeah,
at
you're
this,
such
Bella."
an OC. You're such a Mary
Here's
Sue.
Is this some weird, and especially in Rosalie's case, insensitive metaphor for like consent or something? Like, because Bella planned ahead, waited till marriage and all that good stuff, she's just fine, but all the other people who weren't ready to be turned into vampires are all messes at first.
I hope that's not what it is. I
Yeah.
hope they were just
That's what
trying.
it seems like, though, and that's the only thing that kind of makes sense.
I hope-
Otherwise, it's just her being OP.
Well, I hope they were just trying to be like, see, she said she wasn't like other girls. She
Yeah.
said she never fit in. This is who she truly is.
Not only is Bella now a vampire, but she's the best new vampire ever. She's super strong. Her self-control is great. She looks super fun and sexy now because she's a vampire. I'm like, Stephanie Meyer, listen, we get it. I understand that this is your OC, but you were a grown woman when you wrote this book. You were not 13 on fanfiction.net. tone it down.
It's interesting, though. They all keep saying, wow, Bella, you exercise self-control. However, she has no problem chucking her best friend against a tree along with a little werewolf boy against a tree.
Yeah.
To the fact where Boo Boo was whimpering and sad.
Boo Boo Stewart's crying.
And then Edward's just like,
no, you're not.
I'm sorry.
This is literally a hate crime while all the white people around are applauding and encouraging it. Because
like Esme at some point
Esme's
is like, hey Edward, maybe we should like stop, and Edward's like, no, it's fine. It's very much
fine,
not.
and he's laughing.
Yeah, he's laughing, having a good giggle. I'm like,
and Jacob, this is one thing too that I don't. But then Jacob is like, Bella, it's okay. Like, I'm sorry. Like Nessie, like, and he's
this
like,
good line.
You name my daughter after the Loch Ness monster. Like,
is that in the book?
No, people call. Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
People
It's not.
Vanessa's are nicknamed Nessie. Just because you named your kid something dumb, don't invalidate a valid nickname.
That's
Ness
literally
and
my
Nessie
sister's
is
nickname.
such a
It's
better
not
name.
dumb. It's such a
than
cute
Renesmee.
little nickname. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Like, aw, Nessie.
I'm trying to fix your mess,
Yeah.
which is something Jacob continues to do the rest of the book.
Yeah.
So the movie
With your stupid name that you picked for your kid.
you
So,
do
this
this
happens-
kid. You're a little.
This happens after he imprints on the baby and Bella finds out. But the scene where she sees her baby for the first time, which is after she goes hunting, which, by the way, why don't her eyes turn gold?
Well, not yet.
I still don't understand the eye thing.
Because
I guess it's supposed to be like when you're a newborn, it's red as default, and then if you. But then, like, later on, we meet other vampires who still kill people on different territories, and their eyes are still red. But if you're like the Cullens and the Alaskan girl triplets or whatever, then you get golden eyes.
well,
Eventually.
I thought that as soon as they drink the animal blood, they would turn gold, so I was confused. But they didn't really explain that.
They don't, and like I feel like the first book sort of clarifies that like your eye color has something to do with like your state of hunger. That's why like when
Sometimes they're
in
black.
Yeah. So
Well, I got that much, but
yeah. So
but anyway, she meets her baby for the first time, I guess, and it's
a
this
terrible
horrible
CGI
baby with a full mouth of teeth. It's horrifying.
So gross.
And I don't know why they couldn't just have used an older baby.
The teeth look like the first draft of the the Sonic movie.
Yes,
know,
that's
Sonic
exactly what they look like.
It looks so bad. Yeah, why couldn't they just like use a 1-year-old baby? And they've been like,
this
she grew really
could have
fast.
been the time. They could have used a 1-year-old baby like kind of from the jump, honestly, because like this is the one time when we wouldn't have been like, oh, look at that old grown baby.
Look at this grown woman who's shaped like a baby.
Because
so
they
unsettling.
explain that her half mortal, half vampire baby self grows really fast. For
Just
no
pick
reason, I guess.
just pick a real baby who's big. Just pick
Okay,
a big
so-
newborn. Like a 10-pound newborn if you want to be like, oh, she's growing.
The next couple of talking points that we have are kind of all together in one issue. So, this whole time, the Cullens have been gaslighting Charlie and horrifying him that his daughter is dying. Which literally every movie, basically, Charlie thinks Bella's dying.
This poor man.
Charlie's been through so much. Like, get this man some therapy, please.
He's got Sue Clearwater. I guess he's
Okay,
fine
so
now.
okay, he's got a boo now, so it's okay.
Here's something I don't remember though. Was Harry Clearwater Sue's brother or
I
husband?
don't know, because he looks a little bit older than her.
And yeah, but also like Harry was definitely Charlie's friend. So that's a little
Also,
weird,
what's the
unless
relationship between
Boo
Leah,
Boo and Leah
Seth,
now.
and Sue? Is that their aunt?
Leah Oh.
I don't remember.
Because
either
Leah
way.
is
I don't.
Henry. Is that his name? The fact that I don't even know shows
Well,
like how
you know
little.
what? I think that was. I think that was her husband because I remember when Jacob invites Bella to the clan meeting. The tribe council meeting.
Careful.
And he invites Bella to the council meeting.
the tribal council. They
Meeting.
The hash
Sue is
slinging.
there.
The sash bringing.
the hash slinging slasher. But like, so they say like, oh, Sue has taken over for Henry because R.I.P. King.
Yeah. So there's that.
They Stephanie
Now-
Meyer should have clarified because we have questions, but obviously she didn't care.
I know. And I know they said in the book what she was, but like I don't remember that. That was years ago.
Yeah.
And like also we do keep talking. I compare it to the books and everything for like context and like for fun and stuff. But you shouldn't need that
Yeah,
context if
exactly.
you're watching a movie.
You shouldn't have to like use the book as a study guide.
You picture little me in the theaters with a highlighter and book like
oh, I remember
okay.
this. Okay. Everyone go to page 237. That's where this quote's from.
Guy in the projector booth, please pause. We need to refer
The
back.
teacher gets up at the front of the theater like, all right, everyone, what does this scene mean to you? I think it means that,
Now Carlisle is like, okay, Belle, we're going to tell your dad that you're dead. He needs time to mourn you. And she's like, just do it tomorrow. What difference does it make if we're going along with this plan? Jacob is like, no, I know you love Charlie. I know you don't act like it ever, but I know you want a relationship with your father, and I'm not going to let him lose his daughter because I care about this family way too much. And he goes to Charlie, and he exposes
He
himself.
gets naked.
And he says... he
Yeah,
exposes
literally
himself.
exposes himself.
Charlie
Yeah.
says, best line in the whole movie, Jacob, put your clothes back on.
I will say, I'm pretty sure that scene also happens in the book from Jacob's perspective, and I loved it because Charlie was just as uncomfortable as in
Oh,
the movie
man.
because he was like, because at first, like, Jacob's like, I need to tell you something, and it definitely plays, which I don't know if Stephanie Meyer intended this, but it definitely plays like a weird coming out scene, and Charlie's like, what? It's like,
Oh,
why
I'm
are you-"
sorry.
Even
Sorry
if-
for what?
like-
Our daddy taught us never to be ashamed. I'm not going to continue that because it's really bad.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
But, and then everyone's mad at Jacob because, like, you can't tell Charlie. And he's like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way because he's coming over in 10 minutes. But here's the thing, Edward. He's like, earlier he said, Charlie can't know because the Volturi will kill us. So, Edward, it was totally kosher for you to tell a 17-year-old girl that you're a vampire in hopes of seducing her. But Bella, a woman who willingly changed to spend the rest of her life with you, can't tell her dad so that she could spend his last years on Earth knowing she has her father and he has his daughter. He's literally, every movie, in one way or another, he says, I'm not going to lose you again, Bella. You're all I have, pretty much, basically, is what he says.
Yeah.
But she's like, Dad, you can grieve me because, like, Edward.
Whatever, Dad. I have Edward, so therefore I don't need you
Yeah, I
anymore.
don't need you.
Get out of my way, Dad.
So my question is, cult, toxic relationship, or both?
Both.
Obviously.
The Cult of Cullen.
Okay. Now we get the fun thing. Charlie's on his way over. Uh-oh, we gotta teach Bella to be a normie again, even though you just were.
Even though
like
4
3
days
What
ago
was it,
you
4
were.
days ago?
And like, I mean, honestly though, like the cult, like, it's so weird. The things are like, you need to fidget more. Humans fidget all the time, and I'm like, I mean, I guess a little bit, but like, I don't really notice when anyone's fidgeting. I don't think I would notice if someone was. I guess if someone was like standing like straight, like with their hands at their sides.
I
But, like-
think what would have been a better scene is like her dad notices there's something off because it's her dad.
Yeah.
Because like you said,
Yeah.
you don't notice when people do it unless you know the person really well, and you're like, you're not like acting like yourself, you know? But no.
Yeah, and he kind of says that anyway, despite their dumb 5-minute lesson, their etiquette course or whatever. don't sit up so straight. Humans don't do that.
Blink a
Like,
couple
what?
times, at least
Excuse
30
me.
times for at least
Three times a minute.
What?
Like,
A minute.
yeah,
like,
like if you
that gets that your eyes are going to be so dry.
It's like, and that's weird too, because, like, apparently, like, you know, like, I'm not trying to get, like, gross or anything, but apparently vampires can, like, secrete liquid. So,
Well,
like,
they
can
have-
probably cry, right? So
When
they just
When I
blink.
read about Stephanie Meyer's vampire lore, it said that their venom replaces basically all of the human liquid. So, like, the mucous membrane on your eye, that's their venom. And it replenishes itself, so they don't need to blink or anything.
That's so
That sounds
weird.
bad.
But also, then, like, wouldn't, again, like, I'm not trying to get, like, gross, but, like, doesn't that mean that Edward's daddy who should have turned Bella or something?
That was... That was, the worst way you could have put that.
Bye bye monetization.
I don't know what to call it. That's not.
You
that's
said male
censored.
secretion a couple of videos ago. You said male secretion
Oh.
several videos ago, Zach. You could have said that.
Oh yeah.
Charlie recorded to the Shane Dawson video. Oh my god.
Okay.
That phrase is gonna haunt me when I go to sleep tonight.
Okay. We have fun.
Welcome to Kind of Friends.
Okay, so now Charlie's there, and like she's just like, Dad, I don't need to tell you anything about my life. You just listen to what I tell you that you need to know. And he's like, okay, I guess I want you in my life, so yeah, this will work, I guess. And we're over. Charlie drives off to be seen one more time the whole franchise. Great. Bye.
He comes back at Christmas.
Now, here's something else that happens in the book. This is a line in the book that I totally understand why they excluded from the movie. But then, with the way that Taylor Lautner behaves, they kind of didn't cut this part from the movie. Now, the whole time, whenever they're spending quality time, Jacob's just kind of always around now. He kind of lives there, I guess, as well.
Moves in.
Yeah.
And at one point,
Oh, we
you
forgot
know,
to mention the Edward and Bella party pad that they got as a wedding present.
Oh, they canoodle some more in a shack and nobody cares.
Oh wait, I don't know which one of us said it. Like in a shack. Sorry, in a love shack.
It's a very nice cottage in the
cute-
middle of the woods that's
It's a
fully
cute little
furnished with
cottage
everything they need, apparently.
and a bed. And then Bella's like, "We don't sleep." And then Edward's like, "It's not for sleeping." And then Bella's like, "Oh, I get it." And then they canoodle all night long. And then they stop for a second. And Bella is like, "Oh my god, how are we gonna stop? We don't need to catch our breath or eat." I'm like, okay, at some point you get bored. You're like, this was fun, but I've had enough. And then Edward says, "Oh, when Rose and Emmett first got together, it took them decades to stop." I'm like, okay, so a decade is 10 years, correct?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
Rose was turned in like the 20s, right? Like 1920 something, because like based on like her attire, that's like that.
Yeah.
And then, oh wait, hold on, I'm mistaking decade for for millennia. Never mind. Oh,
Still!
yeah. Oh, silly
But then,
me.
yeah, then Edward says, like, we couldn't stand to be within, like, a 5-mile radius of them. And then Bella says, oh, we're gonna be worse. And
Ew.
he's like, much worse. Proceeds to never canoodle again the rest of the movie.
Maybe like
Because they had a baby.
they had a baby and they're like, all right, that's
couldn't
the end
do
of
it
our
anymore.
sex life. Because, you know, once you have a baby, you can never consummate your marriage ever again.
That's how.
It's a one and done deal.
That's why everybody only has one baby.
Like the Mormons, because they only have one baby. Oh wait, marriage.
So
doing that's just for procreation, right, Stephanie Meyer? That's why they only do it once. You'd know.
So here's something that they choose to cut out of the movie from the book. Jacob keeps hanging around, like he lives there now, and at one point, like they start talking about how nothing, like everything fell into place. The only enemy we had now was time. And Esme kept growing, and we didn't know how long we would have with her. In the book, Jacob says,
Oh no.
"Not fast enough."
Oh no!
Oh my god.
And
This is
very
gonna
hard
be
to
a
say
little
in context.
SDC reference. I loved her since the day she was born.
Oh, but it's true.
Oh, it's so bad. I hate this. I had a crush on her since the day she was born. This sucks.
Yeah. And, like, I see why they didn't include that in the movie. However, the way that Jacob behaves for this entire movie towards Renesmee, I feel like, okay, they go, first, they go into the forest, it's snowing, Renesmee's looking at the snow, Laurent's sympathizer or whatever sees him, and
Girlfriend.
His old GF before he died, which was news to us, I guess.
He was a murderer. I don't care. Then she sees Renesmee and mistakes her for a forever baby. So now they put plans into motion. But we can talk about that later. I just want to say why we go to spend one last Christmas at Charlie's house. Jacob is sitting at the table next to Renesmee. And, I don't know, the way he's looking at her, I feel like I'm looking at a grown man dating a child right now. And I
don't know,
like
and it is weird because he told Bella, it's not like that. We can't choose, and I just want to be her protector and whatever. But then he also says, remember 3 days ago when you wanted to be around me, and that's all gone now, right? And she's like, yeah. And he was like, that was her. And I'm like, yikes, gross. So, before she was born even. And then also, maybe that's gone now because you imprinted on her child.
Maybe you're just in love with her baby.
Well, that's, the headcanon, because, even in the, the book, and he even says, that's, why it was always so weird for us, me and you, it didn't make any sense, and it's, I was, basically, what people infer from this is that the reason that Jacob fell in love with Bella is because she was carrying the DNA of Renesmee. But doesn't that also mean
that he's in love with Edward? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
this is a slash fiction now.
Going back to last movie, I can't talk about how many times, let's forget that the Cullens are super racist.
Yeah.
But if they weren't super racist, I don't see why a throuple couldn't have even been, on the table. Because, when it's Edward, Jacob, and Bella, well, mostly because of Jacob and Taylor Lautner being fun, interesting people to be around, it works. She's like, I'm warm right now with Jacob. Edward's there playing the piano. And Jacob doesn't mind him, and Edward likes Jacob because, again, who doesn't like Jacob? Because he's a very dynamic person until, what's going on now.
But what you're insinuating is that Jacob is just there to be Bella's personal space heater and nothing else. It's all right, let's plug him into the wall and get the extension cord so he can follow me around the house.
Yeah, no, that's true too. Yeah, so they stay racist, sorry. But if you make it a throuple, we can pretend it's a little less racist.
I'm sure there's
That's my
fan fiction
PSA.
where somebody writes it nicely.
Oh, there's gotta be an OT3 for Twilight.
Yeah, how could you not?
I mean, it's right there. Okay, so now let's go back to this. So the conflict, now this is Twilight, so we all know how every conflict in Twilight's gonna end. but we'll still tell you about it anyway. They want this. The Volturi are like, oh no, the Cullens created a forever baby. Ooh,
Should we explain?
Get to kill
Should
him
we
now.
explain what a forever baby is?
When you turn a child, they're not going to grow anymore, but they're also not going to mature mentally, which I have never heard of in any vampire lore where they turn children. It's always the reason why, but it is always forbidden. But it's because it's cruel.
Wait,
to
what
do.
about
Because they?
what about Interview with a Vampire with
Yeah, she matures mentally.
Yeah, but then she
stays
like
a little girl.
little baby the whole time.
Yeah.
But what about like the other vampire? Like Edward
Near
got
dark,
turned. Edward got turned
yeah.
when he was 17, and so his prefrontal lobe isn't developed.
Mm-hmm.
So did he just not mature then?
I mean,
Past
honestly,
17?
that would explain this like toxic relationship a little bit better, I guess.
I guess
But,
he still doesn't act like a 17-year-old.
At all, no, he doesn't.
You talk like you
Jacob
were
does.
born in a different time. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
He really doesn't. Like, when I was reading the book before they, like, talk about, like, when he turned, and, like, she says it another time, I, like, looked back and I was like, is he from, like, the 50s maybe? But, like, maybe?
Get out of here, you dumb broad. I don't want you in my science class.
I know. Was he from the 80s? Because he sounds like a person.
He talks like a regular person. There's no...
Oh, can I just say, I mean, it's kind of disturbing because, yes, this toddler did just murder a whole village, but, like, he looks so cute.
He is
and
a
he,
very
like,
cute
that
little boy.
He had a little blood on his mouth. He's like, did I do that?
Did I?
And I was just like, oh, like a little boy, little bloodthirsty baby boy.
Already, like, children are just... We all work with children here. We know how they are. So imagine, like... when your 3-year-old is just like really acting up and you're like, oh no, yeah, you're gonna suck my blood now. Darn.
The other reason they can't allow immortal children is because they can't keep it a secret, apparently. The children can't.
Yeah, because they'll be too thirsty and too hard to control and whatever.
I took
But,
that
like,
as like the kid's just gonna be like, I'm a vampire, and then
Yeah,
the
me
adults
too.
are just like, aw, sure you are, Teddy. Guys, somebody needs to tell this kid to stop talking. He sounds like a crazy person. Nobody's gonna believe a little 3-year-old if they say they're a
I know.
vampire. I don't see the problem.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely, like, because, I mean, here's the thing, too. Like, maybe, let's move out of the, this is one thing that I feel like should have come up. Why isn't, because, like, if you're a vampire, you don't need to breathe that often. And you can run really fast. In the first, this is also something I don't think they mentioned, but in the first Twilight book, Edward mentions that he swam to France.
As one does.
Cause, like, if regular people can swim the channel or whatever, I'm sure a vampire could do it even easier. So, that being said, why doesn't someone just make a vampire town and, like, whenever you need to eat, you just travel.
Yeah.
And then go back to this town. Because then Forever Baby, especially if in this case, it's not cruel. It's not like he's going to be a 40-year-old Danny DeVito trapped in a 3-year-old's body. He's gonna stay cute and free.
I eat garbage and blood.
Dear a bird. Anyway, if that's not the case, you need to make a little vampire town. Like, I'm not trying to, like, promote, like, segregation or something, but I feel like
But they are. They're promoting segregation.
Vampire segregation. Vampires should not be part of human society. Zach's 2020.
No, man, I'm gonna camp. All I'm saying is the Cullens literally have to move every 6 years, so why don't you have, like, a home base where, like, you know, I don't know, is that crazy? Is
Like,
it?
I don't
it just makes sense
understand.
for them to just be secluded so they don't have to go everywhere.
I mean, yeah.
Going to the
like,
Cullens having to move, I don't understand why they have to be teenagers. Like, yeah, I know you were turned at 17, but there's plenty of, like, 21-year-olds that you're like, oh, I thought you were 17. No, I'm 21. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you just age up a little
Yeah.
bit? Then you won't have to go to high school forever.
Yeah, just we definitely talked about this in one of the first videos, but like just get a bunch of degrees wherever you go.
Yeah, I mean, also like, yeah. Okay, we'll just leave that. Okay, so now the hunt is on. Volturi are coming, so they're like, okay. Carlisle's like, we don't need to fight the Volturi. Let's be reasonable, please. We will just go and find the other vampires we know, introduce them to Renesmee.
Because I'm just such a popular vampire man. I have so many friends
he has friends everywhere.
Also, I'm under the impression that a lot of these people he turned, potentially. Because, like, when we get to Lee Pace, he's the one who fought in, like, all the wars, because...
why not?
I don't know. He was basically, his whole thing was like, name a war, I was in it. Like, you can't just go traveling around to join wars, sir. That's a weird thing to do.
Would it be safe to say that Carlisle has a harem of vampires?
Yes.
You know, I will say, it does seem like he kind of turns men, mostly, and then he turns women,
so he can give them mail order brides. It's very predatory.
Going back to that, war vet vampire, they're like, Carlisle wants you. He's like, oh, okay, Carlisle, I'll do anything for Carlisle. Then even, there's this one vampire, which I don't know why they keep developing him. He doesn't do anything. But there's this one vampire who's like, I'm not going to fight the Volturi, but I'm going to stay here, and I'm not just going to go home. Because I don't want to be here. But he keeps hanging around. I'm like, oh, the Cullens are playing a dangerous game that I want no part of, but I'm, again, going to stick around.
I guess I'm just going to stick around because I'm bored.
But he also seems to owe something to Carlisle as well. So I feel like a lot of these people are turned by Carlisle, so I don't know. It seems like he's trying to start a new wave of vampire vegetarianism or something.
But then they go hunt.
But they all drink blood
people.
Anyway.
They're like, oh, they're not going to hunt in forks. So it's like, okay, so they're not even like, oh, come join my vegetarian body cult. It'll be so fun. He's not even doing that. So what's the point?
Yeah, okay. So Alice and Jasper bounce because they're like, not my fight, whatever. And then they're like, oh my gosh, why'd they leave? And they keep getting all these vampires. They got a whole army, and all of them are just have little cute fun facts about them, but it really is just to waste time.
Yeah.
Also,
it's a lot of filler.
iRobot is here, and he controls the elements, and we don't really spend that much time with him. They're just like, he can do this.
It's like, look,
thing.
it's Remy Malek. We're like, yay, we love him. Yay, we know him.
Like,
but I guess, I don't think we did yet.
When did Night at the Museum come out?
Was it before 2012? When did this movie come out? 2012? 2010?
Let's see. Breaking Dawn Part 2 came out in 2012, and then Night at the Museum. Whoop, I'm not even typing it.
Came out before that for sure.
It came out in 2006. Okay,
oh,
so we've been knew Remy Malek. We knew who he was.
All right. Okay. Cool. Good.
Wait, he was also in a show. I can't remember what it was, but he was in a TV show.
So, another thing. Let's just talk about the impact that these selfish, self-centered Cullens have on all of society. Because all these vampires are turning up, the Cullens are transforming left and right. And now Jacob has a new pack of child soldiers to raise. As if this wasn't problematic enough as it is.
Yeah, just, why not? Just child soldiers. Just throw that into the mix.
And also, let's be real, this is kind of inevitable, because it has to happen sort of before puberty, but, it doesn't seem like there's, a whole lot of people in Jacob's, in the reservation in his area, in general. So, there probably are only kids, and the oldest one in his lot looks like maybe 13. But honestly, not really. They could all be 11.
They're all babies. They're going to school still. They don't have time to go fight vampires. They have an essay to finish.
And then nobody cares about that.
That
It's
goes
fine.
nowhere. No development needed.
Let's talk about how OP Bella
Yay.
is. Because she's
She's-
stronger than Emmett. She punched a rock and beat him
Oh,
up
there was
game
no
style.
reason for that scene. They were like,
We just want to show
Careful.
how good Bella is at being a vampire.
careful, she's the strongest one in the house now. And Emmett's like, bet.
Ah, watch
And then-
this. Cracks his knuckles.
And then they have an arm wrestling contest, and oh, wouldn't you know it, Edward. And when it loses, and there was no point to that scene.
Just,
At
wow,
all.
Bella, you're
Then-
such a strong vampire.
But also she's a mental shield. Or just a shield in general, I guess.
Yeah.
Because nobody could read her mind. So now she's learned that not only can she protect herself, she can project her shield onto other people.
Which apparently she already had that power before she was turned. How does that work?
That makes absolutely no
they
sense.
never clarified it. And in the Edward and I think we did talk about this, but apparently Charlie's mind is a little hard for Edward to read, which they don't talk about in the movies at all. But why?
I feel like this is no insult to Charlie, but I feel like there's not much going on in there. He's a very
thinking-
simple man with
He's a
simple
simple
wants.
man.
Yeah. He's like, I
That's
like football
true.
on Saturdays or Sundays. I don't know when football
And my
is.
daughter.
And my daughter and my friends.
Now, this doesn't really explain Bella at all, but I was thinking potentially because Charlie's best friends are all the
Yeah.
Juliets, and he's just with them a lot, and they can't really. And Alice's vision gets blurred when the werewolves are around, so I was thinking maybe that was just a little bit of a protection for him, but that still doesn't explain Bella because she just met Jacob the first movie, and it seems like nobody could do anything to her, period, the whole time. But I
So
don't
does
know,
that
maybe-
mean that if Bella
I-
actually did get hit by the truck, she'd be fine?
honestly, probably.
She has plot armor anyway, so it's fine.
So now let's talk about vampire rights. So it turns out people are sick of the Volturi's awful dictator regime, even though, why? Because it doesn't seem like they really do anything except try to get new members through shady
Yeah.
means. Not saying that, but, I don't know. This seems like another weird political issue that, nobody in the making of this should have tried to tackle, and I don't even know what it was. But they're so whenever the Volturi want, in this case, they want Alice, because he doesn't have anybody who can read the future. So because they have the crime of a forever baby, they can kill everybody and be like, Alice, we won't kill you, but you have to join us. And then she'll be like, oh, okay, and then she'll join. And apparently they've just been doing this, but it happens so rarely that they just never noticed before.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't pay any attention to that part of the movie.
Yeah, I think I was asleep when that
I'm like,
happened.
this is boring. It's going right over my head. Whatever, they want Alice for some reason. I don't care.
I was wondering why he was so happy when Alice showed up. I was like, oh, you got a little crush there.
Oh, this is Alice.
I feel I wonder if that is fan fiction, because in New Moon I definitely did think he had a crush on her as well, because he when she walks up he's like, ooh, Alice came, now it's a party. Which maybe they're exes, because I don't know how old anybody is. And Carlisle used to run with the Volturi anyway. So that's that. Anyway, now it's time for the war. I don't know.
Well, let's see. Okay, so, they tell the Volturi that it's not a forever baby. Just
trust
her,
us.
Yeah, let her come read my mind, I guess. And he's like, oh, yeah, there's no crime here. But then they decide that they're going to... I don't know why. They decided they were like, but we're still going to fight.
I think it's because
and
they're
then
like,
Alice...
oh, we're afraid of the unknown. We don't know anything
Oh,
about
yeah, that's
this
right.
half-blood
If we-
prince baby. So let's just kill it anyways and not, risk
Right.
it in the future.
And so then Alice appears out of the woods, literally, with Jasper, and she's like, wait, no, I can show you the future and prove that there's no threat. And then she yanks her hand away and says, it doesn't matter what I'll show you, because you're just going to do whatever you want. And then she turns very dramatically back to the Cullens and the werewolves and says, or she doesn't say it, she mouths it, now. And I was like, that is not a subtle signal.
You're trying to, like, be low-key. It's not working.
And then the two groups run at each other, and that's when the war starts.
Well, what happened before that, though, was we didn't specify this, but the Alaskan triplets, or we don't know if they're just siblings or whatever. Their one sister, who is the one who's like, I love you, Laurent, I run your Stan Twitter. She was like, hey, Arrow, got some news for you, and then that got the ball rolling on this whole situation.
Can I just talk about how I hate that apparently nobody in the movie knows how to pronounce his name, because some people pronounce it Arrow and some people pronounce it Arrow.
Yeah, no consistency.
Yeah.
Like, all right then.
It's not like a Kaiser Caesar situation either.
No.
I'm like, what? Did the director not like yell like, cut, guys, you're saying it wrong, it's R-O. Oh, okay, let me redo my line. None of that. They're like, we don't care. Just get this movie done.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the time of Easter egg starting to pick up, so maybe it was like, oh, that's a fun Easter egg. How, like, did you see? Nobody knows his name.
That's not an Easter egg.
So
That's just inconsistent.
That's a mistake on IMDb. Yeah. So Aro's like, hey, kiddo, whatever her name is. We don't know her name. She comes up and she's like, hey, so sorry, I goofed. Yeah, that's the kid I saw, but she's not an immortal kid, I guess, because she grew. And so they just straight up kill her. For I don't know why. They're like, oh, you wasted our time. You must die now, I guess.
Yeah.
You tricked us.
Yeah, even though she's like, I made a mistake.
You saw my mind. That's what I thought. I didn't deceive you. I was just...
And they're like, we're just gonna kill you. And then her sisters are like, oh my god, she's dead. And they panic for like all of 2 seconds. And then they're like, no, stay calm. And they go, okay.
The Amazon ladies block their vision.
Oh, right.
Because
then one of them goes, give me my sight back. And I'm like, how much longer is left in this movie? Oh, 15 minutes? Great. So that happened.
Anyway.
So it got a little dramatic for a minute. Also, they were still being like real calm for like their sister being dead.
Yeah.
They were just having the fight. I think Carlisle was one of the vampires.
He's dead.
I think
Jasper's
Seth
dead.
died.
Leah's dead. Seth is dead. And then a bunch of the Volturi are dead.
And then there's this really weird scene where Arrow runs at Edward, and then somehow Bella's in front, and she gets hit, and then she gets thrown into Edward. And then they decide what would be a really cool move and effective somehow is for Edward to pick up Bella and swing her around so she can kick Arrow.
I swear that's something that we did in D&D once, kind of as a joke. Like, quick, throw me! And then it's like, great, I'm an improvised weapon.
But he didn't even throw her at him. He just swung her at him.
Oh, this fight is such a nightmare, and everyone, like, when it came out in theaters, they're like, oh my god, the fight was so intense. I'm like, sure.
So cool.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's kind of lame.
There were so many moments where I was just like, what?
Yeah, pardon.
I think it's a kind of thing where, like, so much nothing has happened that it's like, wow, this is, like, really something. But I do remember when I first saw it in theaters, I felt a lot more. When this happened, I was watching with my brother, and we just started, like, while it was going on, we just started quoting Hamilton lyrics back to each other. Like, we were not paying attention anymore.
I was watching it with my boyfriend, and he started, like, squeezing me and hugging me, and I was like, can you stop? This is potentially the most interesting part of the movie.
I watched it by myself.
And then I was like, oh, wait. It's still not interesting.
Oh, it's still boring and sucks.
Sorry for putting the pause on the sleeve.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephanie Meyer.
You win again.
Damn, she's like, is this a premarital squeeze happening? No, watch my bad movie.
Okay, so now the war is over.
Because it was
Aro
fake.
Arrow died.
It was a big fake
Yeah.
out.
Alice is like, this is the course you're on, so you better redirect. And he's like, yeah, alright, fam,
I
sounds
don't wanna
good.
die.
But wait, the baby's still a little dangerous. And then we meet this man, and he says, I'm 150 years old. My father was a vampire who seduced my mother, and she died giving birth
She
to
wasn't
me.
as strong as Bella is.
She was a minority.
Yeah.
so of
Oh my god. We never mentioned this. But back in Breaking Dawn Part 1, they, for their honeymoon, they go to Brazil. And then
Oh my
Edward is
God.
like, oh, we just have our own private island. Okay, Epstein. So they go to this private island and they canoodle all over the place. And then their housekeepers come in. And of course, Stephanie Meyer had to make the housekeepers Hispanic. But not just
Okay, but
Hispanic.
they
One
are-
of them is native to Kuna, which is also a
They're-
real tribe.
They are in Latin America, though, right? They're in like
Here's
a
my
But the only thing
They're
she
in
could think of
a
was
Latin country.
that she's like, you're the housekeeper, because that's all I know.
But-
here's
My-
my thing. I totally understand having a house manager because they're not there all the time. How about this, Edward? Instead of making these people who, like, well, she's not very nice to you and she calls you
Yeah.
a demon all the time.
But
so,
like, honestly,
respect.
you are, so
But-
fair enough.
Yeah, and he's just like, because at first he smirks at it, but then, like, when she's like, you literally
Yeah.
killed a girl. Like, I wasn't kidding this whole time. He's like, well, now it got real. But anyway, okay, they take care of your house year-round when you decide to come in. Apparently, they keep your fridge fully stocked,
Yogurt
too.
and
On
chicken
the off
and
chance.
peanut butter
peanut butter
in the fridge. Does anybody
So,
here put peanut butter in
how-
the fridge?
No.
If you put your
Mm.
peanut butter in the fridge, you are a little weird.
But here's the thing. You broke the bed. You thoroughly thrashed this room.
What were they supposed to
You
do with that?
have- Yeah,
Let me just
you are
run to
super
IKEA
speed.
quickly.
You have super speed, super strength. Why don't you clear out the room and be like, oh, we're going to order
Yeah.
a new bed. Could you put it together? That's doable for a person. It's not doable to make sense of this demon nonsense you got going on.
Also, though, I do want to. So I don't have as much problem with them being Hispanic and housekeepers since they were in a Latin country. But my problem was they made her like so like, oh, she's a native. She has all these stories, and she just thinks that I'm a demon
And
and
she's suspicious.
that you're a demon. And yeah, like I don't know. They made it seem like
Oh, look how paranoid and crazy she is. Aren't these
yeah, look
native
how
Takunas
she's
so
not
crazy?
in touch with the modern
Yeah.
world
Wow.
kind of thing.
They were like 5 seconds away from just saying she practices Santeria.
Yeah. Look at this funny witch. Isn't she great? Like, Stephanie Meyer, please. Please.
So, yeah, and like from here, it's just happy ending for everybody because nothing bad ever actually happens.
Yeah, so that was
Everybody even is
that was such a
conflict.
non-conflict
Yeah.
because they were like, we could have had this really cool war and a bunch of people could have died, but actually, just kidding, it
could've-
was just a vision.
We could have had some finality
So-
to this series. But no. That's no fun.
Instead, we just get another vision at the end of Jacob with a grown-up Renesmee and Edward and Bella.
They're all the same age.
Yeah,
That's weird.
Nothing bad could ever happen.
Oh, because she's perfect, guys. Bella's my OC. I love her. Do not steal.
Okay.
and she practiced how to lower her shield so she could show Edward a thought AMV for moments
AMV
together.
at the end.
Oh,
People were like,
yes.
"Oh my god, I cried." I'm like, "Why?" I think maybe just because we
can
watched
find
the
this on
movies
YouTube.
back to back to back to back. We were like, "We don't need to see this again."
Yeah, I will say, when you wait in theaters for a year, I do remember thinking that the AMV felt earned. This felt not unearned this
Time was
around.
just a reminder of how we suffered.
And
We
it was
all
at this
for our
point where
art.
I was like, it was at this point where I was like, oh yeah, it's only been like 2 years since they met.
They met in their junior year. Senior year happened. They graduated. Now we're here.
It's 2 years and they aged
Yeah.
5. Okay, well, we actually officially can say we did it.
Yay.
We finished Twilight Month.
Good job, team.
Congratulations.
Yeah. What, I guess, any closing thoughts on the whole entire
The
series?
series sucks, guys.
I would like to know, because I had a lot of friends that really liked it in middle school and high school, and they liked the movies, and I still know some people, they're not my friends, but I do know some people that still like the Twilight movies, but I'd like to know the people that I was friends with in middle school and high school that really liked them. I would love to know how they feel like they've aged, or if they ever grew out of it and they're like, wow, why was I into this? Or, like, I want to know what their feelings are about the movies now. And if you're one of those people, leave a comment,
Yeah.
I guess.
I think
Yes,
another
please,
question maybe
like-
is, as bad as the series is, do you agree that there's some artistic merit to it? Like, I personally think that the cinematography and the locations are really well done and they're really beautiful. Other than that, though, I'm, like, not enjoying watching what I'm seeing.
There were definitely
Yeah.
some things where I was like, okay, that was kind of
because
clever,
it's
or
largely
whatever.
filmed in Vancouver, I think, and Vancouver overall is a really pretty province. Vancouver's a city. British Columbia is the province. I know my geography in the country I
And
live
then-
in.
Like, credit where credit's due. They also improved on the music
Yeah.
for the last few movies. Oh man, Twilight and New Moon, those were rough.
Yeah.
But they updated the music. So I think there was something that happened in the beginning of the first part, and I was like, I need to remember that, because that was actually kind of clever, and now I can't remember, so, because I didn't take
Well,
notes.
if
So
you remember
sorry.
it, we'll edit it in.
And then, I guess my thing, I guess I would say, is that, like, for the actors, and I said this before, a lot of people say that they're not talented, but they really worked hard to bring this dumb book to life. And I appreciate
They
their effort.
almost
They
gave it
didn't
their
just,
all.
like- I mean, I really, truly feel that they did. Because it's like, when you read it and you watch it, it really looks like they just put it on the screen. Except for the context that they left out that makes it kind of worse. But still.
I have to say that Michael Sheen did amazing.
Michael Sheen
Oh,
was
yes,
chewing the
he
scenery.
had-
I loved him every second he's on screen.
Yes. He had... Who was the one... I like that I'm asking. Who was the wannabe Snape guy supposed to be, though? Like, the guy in the background?
I know
was
who you're
always, like-
talking about, and he got killed by, like, his arms got
From
ripped off. in
Mickey
the
from
war scene.
Shameless
Yeah.
and some other guy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we've given you a lot of stuff to think about, people. So, thank you, ladies. This has been a wonderful Twilight month. Let's
Yeah.
never do this
Let's
again.
pick,
Yeah,
some,
no, thank
let's
you.
pick something else next year for
That was
Halloween.
rough.
And thank you guys for listening. Hopefully you stuck it out with us for this whole month. And remember to comment, like, and subscribe because we all need friends.
Happy Halloween. Bye.
Bye.